It was built kind of by, we didn't know if we could build it. We knew what we didn't like about, running an agency. And we just started, saying, hey, well, what if we could just, we know what campaigns we're already using. What if we could just templatize these and just click them and then they would just go?
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the High Level Spotlight Sessions, where we showcase awesome marketers doing awesome marketing. Today, I'm joined by Sam Carlson. He's the co-founder of UpHex, which is a Facebook and Instagram lead gen platform that, like HighLevel, you can also resell as a service. Sam, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to be on. Thanks for having me, and look forward to showing you guys what we're doing. In fact, it's funny because our journeys have kind of trailed together a little bit. We're obviously quite a bit behind what you guys are doing, but we love using Go High Level, and it's really changed A, how we ran our agency, and B, how we built this software. So I'm excited to talk to you too. Yeah, man.
That's great. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about using it within High Level, which I think is pretty cool. Yeah. But let's talk about why it exists, right? So Facebook ads are a pain in the butt, if you ask me, right? Every time I have to go set something up, I'm just like, things don't look the same, can't find what I used to think was in this place. It's very complicated. Is that what sort of led to UpHex? It's just like, hey, it doesn't need to be like this?
There's a lot of that. When you run an agency, when you're helping, local businesses, and that's what UpHex is all about. It's just local brick and mortar. That's where we really have niched down to. When you're running Facebook lead generation campaigns for those particular people, at first, when you have a couple clients, 2, 3, 4, 5 clients, it's fine, no big deal. You're jumping ads manager, you're creating stuff, and you're excited to do it because you're building your company. But after you do that for long enough, jumping in and out of ads manager, copy and pasting, ad copy or headlines, whatever, doing all that, it gets redundant. There's a lot of human error involved. And I don't know about you, but I don't do the spinning plates thing very good. I'm not a great multitasker. And so all of the focus I have in creating and launching a campaign, man, it derails me from anything else that I'm doing to actually build the agency. So, it was built kind of by, we didn't know if we could build it. We knew what we didn't like about, running an agency. And we just started, saying, hey, well, what if we could just, we know what campaigns we're already using. What if we could just templatize these and just click them and then they would just go? Wouldn't that be great? So that's where everything started.
So I see the high level parallel. Basically, we're talking about scalability. Hey, I have a niche. I service plumbers. I run the same ad for every plumber. I know it works. Yes, I just changed the targeting. And so, okay. So basically what you're saying is you could build that once and then just deploy it each time you get a new client.
Yeah. I mean, you start a new, like for us, but let's say without UpHex, okay? We get a new client. We bring them on, we start running their ads. Well, we're just cloning a follow-up automation campaign that we built through Go High Level, right? We're not rebuilding it from scratch every single time. We're not redoing all that stuff. We just take something we've built and we attach it to a campaign so that, that management process will start. And that's the exact same thing, the way we approached, launching ads. We're using, the worst thing a lead generation company can do is guess. Is go out and say, hey, let's try new ad copy. Let's try new headlines. Let's try new images, new offers. We know that we're using, like you said, if you're helping plumbers or whatever it is, you're using the same campaigns over and over again with maybe some slight variations, but you're just doing these things over and over again because they work. Your job is to generate leads, not to guess, right? So yeah, exactly what you're saying is it's point on, spot on.
So, I mean, that makes a ton of sense. Like being able to scale ad management, I mean, theoretically, then you need less employees per client. When we talk about the ratio of, trying to keep your margins in line or whatever, one person should theoretically be able to manage way more accounts if they're able to just deploy. When we talked last time, you also mentioned something I thought was really interesting. And to me, I was like, oh, I'll be curious to hear if that works. And so, I mean, this sounds amazing for an agency who knows what they're doing, right? Like, hey, like you said, we have a proven campaign. We're not reinventing the wheel every time. We know it works, you know. But you were like, no, this is to the point where like you could let a client launch their own campaign by just
Yeah.
like clicking it out of a library.
Yeah.
How is that going?
That is about 80% of our business. About 80% of our users. Yeah, about 80% of our users use, we call them click campaigns, right? So let me back up a little bit. I said at the beginning, so HighLevel has introduced a SaaS model, which is awesome because you're allowing agencies to start diversifying what they can offer businesses, you know, all these cool automations and everything else. Well, UpHex, we like to think instead of software as a service, with UpHex, we do software and a service, right? So we can kind of talk about the actual agency that uses UpHex. That's my other company called Patient Stream. It has two offerings. One, which is a DIY. So that's what you were talking about, just them using campaigns, clicking at the actual users, the clients themselves. And then a DFY. That's, we do it for you, but we'll include some additional services to make it a more of a high ticket offering, right? And it was a total proof of concept. And like anything else, when you start something new, you don't go off great at the very beginning.
Sure.
You know, there was quite a few holes that we had to patch and fix. But today, people can, and I'll show you this if you want to see it, but people can go into their Go HighLevel account. They can go down to a tab that says Manage Ads, and they don't have to know anything about Facebook ads, anything about like what kind of offers and, you know, the marketing, the artistic side of it. They don't have to know any of that. They just go click, choose the template, the budget, and go. And it'll turn on a campaign and start generating them leads.
This is pretty interesting, right? Because I know a lot of folks in the HighLevel community offer a no service version, right? It's just pure white labeled SaaS. Like, hey, we've got this awesome product. You know, maybe they do the onboarding or maybe they pay for a white label onboarding. But the idea is once the client's onboarded, it's running itself, right? Leads are coming in through GMB chat, through the web chat widget, et cetera. But there's not actual lead generation happening, right? Like those,
Right.
that's just captured traffic that was already going to their assets or whatever.
Right.
But what you're describing is, okay, you're now selling software that can also generate you leads if you want. You just go click the ad that you want and it's a proven campaign. We talked about that before, right? You've already tested this in the wild.
Yeah.
So they just set their budget. So that was my next question, is like, how do you keep them from shooting themselves in the foot, essentially?
Well, we provide recommendations, and we base our budget recommendations off of what current CPMs are in our space. And so I mean, generally as a rule of thumb, I say $40 a day. If you're doing local lead generation, $40 a day, that's your starting point. I think last I checked, I think our average CPMs were around $22, $23, right? So everything being linear, which of course it's not, that's going to be, you know, almost 2 leads a day, right? And so that's where we want to start. We don't want to shortchange the campaign and spend 10, $15 a day, because that's not going to get you anywhere. But we just make recommendations. And so within Go HighLevel, we have a tab that says education, and it's a 2.5-hour course. And so anybody that signs up for DIY, we take them through a short onboarding. We say, before you launch your first campaign, there's a 2.5-hour DIY course. It's not called DIY, it's called New Patient School. That's what we call it. Go through it, and then you can launch your first account. And the people who actually follow through, they do great. They do wonderfully.
See, I love this model because it's like, you know, there are a lot of clients who think either they have skills that they don't, or that they have time that they don't. Right. And so, you know, trying to get them to start out with the bigger plan right off the bat is often unrealistic. But you're like, oh, I see. Oh, you're the DIY type. Yeah, totally. You can come in, do it yourself. The training's there. If you need anything, let us know. Or, you know, if you determine that you want to jump up, you know, just let us know and you can upgrade. And you give them the chance to prove to themselves that I don't know what I'm doing and I need help. or I don't have the time to do this and I'm willing to just pay to get it done. But you didn't lose them, right? You made a sale up front, which is the important part.
Right. Yes. Absolutely. It is such a, and I've been doing this for a long time. And so I just kind of do like a consultation with them. I say, all right, let me ask you a few questions because I've got two products. One that is do it yourself, one that's done for you. And obviously they're going to have different prices, but I want to put you in the one that fits best for you. And so I'll just frame it that way. And I'll give you an example. I just talked with a clinic last Friday. This is crazy. Last Thursday, Friday.
Joe, before you get into, or sorry, Sam, before you get into the story, can you flick your video on and off? It's frozen for me. So I don't know if it's, if it'll be frozen for everyone, but let's just try to jumpstart it.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No problem. There we go. Now you're live. Now you're back. Oh,
gotcha.
Here we are.
Okay. So I had a clinic come on, and that's our primary. So patient stream, our primary avatar is people who have chiropractic or medically integrated clinics. And the guy calls me and he knows a lot about marketing. So this clinic actually has their own marketing department and they know a lot. And I said, hey, you guys are awesome for the DIY stuff. And I just looked at his stuff today because I was curious. And he has launched as of, what is today? Today's Wednesday? Tuesday. As of Monday, Tuesday? Okay, he launched on Monday 9 different marketing campaigns, 9 of them. And yesterday he generated 27 leads.
Wow, that's fantastic.
This is lead generation through Facebook. These guys don't know how to run ads, but yesterday they generated 27 leads all by themselves without us involved at all. It's awesome.
That is awesome. Can we take a look at this? Could you do a screen share and show us what this actually looks like?
Yeah, so let me go ahead and let me jump in here. I'll show you his campaign, and then I'll show you, actually, why don't I do this? If I could, I'll show you how it looks in HighLevel, and then I'll jump into the back end of UpHex, and I'll show you what his actual results look like.
Cool.
If that's cool.
Definitely.
All right. Of course, I gotta start sharing. Here we go. All right. You see my screen? Okay. So yeah, I've got the updated version, the new, the new look of Go HighLevel here. And, we'll put new stuff up here, by the way, new offer alert, and let our users know, hey, here's our new neuropathy offer that we've got. But if you look along the left side, that's where we really have kind of customized things. So we've got manage ads and education. And the manage ads is where our own clients can go in and, again, launch their campaigns. Okay. And so in this case, everything is very, intuitive. You don't need, now, again, I'm running campaigns for chiropractors and for medically integrated clinics. If you were using this, you would obviously have different icons and titles based on, how you market your business. But we can go in here and just look at the categories. And what we've done is we've uploaded our templatized campaigns. Now we call these click campaigns. Okay. And the reason we call them click campaigns is because the ad copy, the creative, so the images, the targeting, everything is available after you click on the campaign. Okay. And you can see, we've got in this one what is that? 7 different campaigns within this one. Okay. You click on it. You come in here. Now you have the option of doing a landing page. Now I'll be honest with you. We prefer, just for, functionality, lead forms. Pretty much 100% of our clinics are doing lead forms. Okay. And if you do lead forms, then they're pre-built into UpHex and the client doesn't have to do anything to a funnel. Okay.
Oh, so they don't have
you
to
put in your daily budget.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's already built. It's pre-built. It's part of the build out campaign. Okay. You go in there, you put in your $40. You put in your website. So, and on a lead form, after you opt in, it gives you the option to go to, whatever page it is. So you put whatever page you want to there. Okay. If you need any tweaking on the targeting based on distance from your location, you can do that, right? It defaults to 10. And then you hit create. Now this is a actual campaign, so I'm not gonna hit create. But you can. You just go hit create and boom, your campaign is launched with 4 ad creatives and targeted perfectly the way you built out the template, and everything is done. And you never had to get into Ads Manager.
Can you go back one screen to the templates page?
Yeah.
I feel like it just reiterates, click on one of these, go to that next page. So let's say back pane. Okay, great. I just wanted to point out for the folks that are struggling to niche or trying to decide if they should or shouldn't. This is one of the major advantages to choosing a niche to go after, because look, whether you use UpHex or not, you find campaigns that work and can use them over and over. You're not reinventing the wheel. And anytime you're not reinventing the wheel, you're saving money, you're increasing your margins, et cetera. And so, clearly these guys have been in the business for a while because they've got all these campaigns that they know work. But just imagine, how much time and money you could save if you didn't have to reinvent the wheel every time with every client. And so I just wanted to pause there and point that out as an advantage, because I talk to folks all the time who are struggling with whether or not they should pick a niche or try to go nicheless. And yeah, I'm not saying one is better than the other. I have a personal opinion that I think niching is better, but this is a clear advantage as far as scalability.
I could never go not nicheless. I could never go broad personally.
Mm-hmm.
I think the mental dexterity that you would need to be so good in all these different things
Mm-hmm.
would be beyond my abilities. So yeah, it's a good point. I don't know how many people actually do it that way. Do a lot of people, you know that better than I do. Do a lot of people do that?
Yeah. Because
really?
you can sort of,
broad.
it's how you look at a niche. A lot of people are like, look, I'm not niched into one specific industry, but I'm niched very specifically into my offering. Like it applies to these industries. You can't change it. So I don't do different things every time. It just works in a bunch of industries. So I could see that as like a niche in itself in a way. But yeah, then there are other people who are just like, yeah, no, we're just, pretty much any small business, come on in. And I can't, like you, to me, it's too much. It's like, I don't know how you do that, but there for sure, there are lots of high level customers that are nicheless.
Interesting. Well, cool. Let me go ahead and show you the back end of UpHex. All right. And just for privacy's sake, now there are some things in here that are client specific. So I don't mind showing like these things here. I don't mind that. But if you were to click this, double chevron, it would show you how it breaks down by location, like who's actually running.
Wait a minute. Those things are called chevrons?
Isn't that what that's called?
I had no idea. I never heard that before.
Look, my wife paints our kids' rooms and they use those patterns, and I heard her say chevron once. I think that's what it is.
Nice. I love it. Learn something every day.
Yeah, I don't know.
Double chevron, this is, all right.
Yeah. So this is, if you look here, I've got the date range of just yesterday. Okay. And if I were to click this, if you can blur this out after, then I'll click that. But if not, then we'll just leave it like that, if that's okay.
We sure could blur it. Yeah. If you feel like it'd be, if there's, I think you built it up. We got to see what's behind the chevrons.
All right, man, let's show you. So for example, if I click this sciatica decompression, I can expand that template, and you can see I'm running it on 1, 2, 3 locations.
Okay.
And so it will break down by location, and I can say CR's conversion rate, like that sciatica campaign is kicking butt. 15% conversion, 33 and 13. That's a controlled funnel, right?
Wow. Yeah.
So that's data. By the way, you notice how it's taking these 3 locations and it aggregates it underneath one template? Imagine the power of knowing without any guessing that, hey, that campaign works. Right?
You say, so the top line, that one there, the cost per lead is on average basically $18. But within it, we can see.
Yeah, you break it up. You can just break it
Cool.
up, and so if you're a person who optimizes ads, jumping in and out of ads manager, in and out of accounts, how are you going to aggregate the information? None of the other platforms that we know of do this. And again, we built it to scratch our own itch. We were building this to just say, hey, we need to know if we're going to run this sciatica campaign. Again, we'll just use that as an example. And I can tell you, anybody who says, hey, I need patients that want sciatica patients, I'm like, dude, I got you. I can tell you with way more confidence that I got a campaign that's going to kick butt because of this. I can look at this, right?
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, we can break it up by templates, by ads, by a lot of things. And I'll just show you the gallery too while we're here. So this is where you build everything. So you saw what the front end looked like when in Go HighLevel. You saw what the icons looked like. This is what it looks like when you're in your UpHex account and you're building these campaigns, right? So you just go in, you put in, now there's an actual template creation process. It's super easy to do, but you just go in and here's all of the information for that campaign, including the code for the targeting, right? All the stuff, including all of the ad creatives that can be used on that campaign. So it's pretty awesome. That's all I can say. It's awesome. We love it.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, when we first connected, I was kind of skeptical. But thinking back and knowing how things go, it's pretty convenient, right? And people are always willing to pay for convenience. And the idea that you can run a DIY offer where people can generate their own leads without account managers having to get involved and things like that, it's really interesting. Sam, how long have you been running that? I asked you, is it working? And you're like, it's 80% of what's going on. In what time frame were you measuring that in your mind?
It's a long story, but currently that's what is happening. But I'll just tell you, I mean, I was running an agency and we started building this software. How that came together is a whole nother story. But we're running this software and we did it the same way every other agency did it. Like, I'd go out, my job is primarily client acquisition. That's what I'd do. And then I'd have my partner, Jacob, and he's kind of a very smart, brainy, technical person. And he'd go and run all the actual campaigns. And that was great. But at some point it's too much, right? It's like, hey, we can't handle more than 20, 30 clients. That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Between service, communication, herding kittens, all that kind of stuff. It's just a lot of work. And we launched Patient Stream. I think it was right at the beginning, 4 or 5 months into the pandemic. So a little over a year and 4 months, something like that. So for about a year, we've been just full-fledged, just building, that. And about 6 months ago, we said, we should make it so other agencies can do this, can do the same thing we're doing, but just make it so they can actually do it. And so we had to, I mean, you guys are building software. It's not an easy thing. It's like this, this whole, oh, geez, Gordian's knot. But yeah, so about 7, 8 months ago, I feel like is kind of when we started saying, hey, let's have a go-to agency thing. And again, Go HighLevel. We were like, hey, let's see if we could do the same thing for other people that we did it for ourselves and give them the ability to clone our business model. So that's what we've done.
Nice. So, I mean, I feel like we should point out, technically it's still in beta, right?
Yeah. So we did an alpha, which I didn't know. I've only heard of beta, but we did alpha. And basically that's just getting people to come in and say, hey, I like this, but if I was going to pay money for it, I'd need to see these things. So we've done that. And actually today with this interview is the official launch of our live beta. Yes. So
nice. Yeah, congrats.
We're open for business. Thanks, man.
So Sam, where do people go if they want to check out the beta?
Yeah, you go to uphex.com, and UpHex, it will walk you through all the benefits and that stuff. We're doing some things for the beta that I think you guys have decentralized your sales model. And I feel like that's the smartest thing that we figured out, like in modern, SaaS sales, is decentralizing sales. And so we're doing the same thing. We're offering a great recurring affiliate model, so 30% recurring, which I feel like is great for this. During beta, we're doing a couple things that, I think are attractive to get people who've never used it on board and say, hey, this thing is great. So $497 a month, unlimited locations, and unlimited SaaS mode. We're not stealing the SaaS mode, moniker from you guys, but we're not charging by location. If you want to like embed UpHex into your client's Go High Levels account, we're not doing anything per location right now. So everything's unlimited. We want people to come in, get excited about the software. We're using it and we know how well it works. And I will say, the biggest, you said it, the amount of time and effort that people put on it. I was running an agency with 20 to 30 clients, and it took us 3+ employees to do that. We have, we got to over 100 clients with a part-time stay-at-home mom who was running the support and all the stuff, because people could just do it themselves. And
well, that's the holy grail, right? I mean,
yes.
When you implement HighLevel, I love watching the light bulb go off when I talk to new agencies coming into HighLevel, and we help them get the nurture automated, and it's like, holy, I can't believe it. Leads are booking onto their calendar with no one getting involved. And we're like, exactly, right? That's the holy grail. But it's not really, because somebody still needs to generate the leads. So if they can, do the lead gen and the automation happen, the nurture automation happens, then you really have kind of the holy grail, right? And then you pair it with some white labeled support. And, what I love to see is the mentality of the owners change from, no, we're going to hit this huge number because we want to be a 7-figure agency, an 8-figure agency. So we need to be selling $3,500 a month packages. And you're like, cool, go for it. And then they come back and like, you know what, we've completely pivoted to SaaS because it's just so much more scalable, and, sure, you're collecting, $499 a month or whatever instead of $3,500, but they don't churn. So, it's a slower build, but the end result is a smaller staff, better margins, better quality of life, less stress. So this is a really interesting piece at the front of it.
The churn conversation is an interesting one. And if I were to break it down, again, I've been doing this for 6-7 years, a long time. I think that the number one reason that there's so much churn in this type of business and in the agency model is because there's more in operations than any of us really gave it credit for. And so we kind of underfund our support and the tactical side of actually executing the service. And so instead of being proactive in support and all these things that we should do, in a perfect world, we know what we should be doing, but we can't, because we're in like this hamster wheel of getting clients and then getting them enough results and then putting out fires. The putting out fires, they never become fires. This is one thing I've actually learned by having UpHex, and I hate to just sound like I'm pitching the whole thing. I'm pitching it, obviously, but I don't want it to sound like, that's the only reason I'm saying this. I will say probably the biggest thing fundamentally that we've seen that have made a difference in churn was that because the lead generation is running on autopilot in a sense, our support is the best it has ever been. I'm charging $497, and the support level on the $497 is better than any agency that I've ever competed against. Our clients can jump in the chat at any time. They're going to talk with Heather or Dean, and they're going to get their problem solved right away. Right?
Well, again, it goes back to scalability, because if there's only 10 templates to choose from, there are no fires around like, how did that image get into that ad? I never approved that image, like blah, blah, blah. Or
Yeah.
I know I approved it, but my wife's brother's cousin just told me it's terrible. And so they're going to redo it. And I'm mad at you, even though has nothing to do with you or your team. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yes.
goes
You know,
out the
it's funny.
window.
It's ridiculous. And it also, when you have, now I will say with UpHex, you can choose the template images, or you can kind of upload images a la carte, which I would never do, by the way. The only reason we did it was because there's certain, we had a friend, Joe Rare, you know Joe Rare? Joe's a good guy.
Yeah.
And for we talked with him a little bit when we were building. He's like, I do it for wedding venues. I do local lead gen for wedding venues.
Yeah.
And I need to be able to customize, per location. I'm like, well, that makes a lot of sense. So we said, well, we're going to have to make it so you can do that, right? So you can customize the images a la carte. But in my niche, I never do that. I never do that. You want to know why? Because generating leads is not about the service provider. It's about the end user, right? And so if you're trying to help people with knee pain, you don't talk about the clinic that's helping people with knee pain. You talk about knee pain and solutions to knee pain. That's how you get them, right?
It's funny. I thought you froze for a second. The more of these interviews I do, the more it comes back around to the hero's journey, right? And the story brand, that's just the hero's journey with their spin on it. But that's exactly it. It's this mental shift of, hey, the hero in the story needs to be your customer, not the business, right? So you don't make the ads about the business because they're not the hero. You make it about the customer and their problem. And I love it. I actually just ordered a book on it, and I'm like halfway through it, but I think it's fascinating. And once the power of making that mental shift. So I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Condition specific marketing and what we do, that's the only thing we will do. And I do have people come on, and all I'll say is, listen, you're talking about content marketing. If you want to talk about yourself, feel free to do content marketing. However, if you talk about a problem, then you're going to be a lot more positioned as you create content, because if you want to generate leads, it's about offers, it's about who you're talking to, and it's about getting and keeping attention. So
yeah, no. And I mean, again, once you can make things, we did a lot of do you want to flick your video on and off again? You're frozen on my end.
Man, sorry about that.
You're kind of in a cool pose, but
okay, cool. I'll take it.
Yeah, there we go. At the agency that I used to run, we did tons of websites, and just painful lesson after painful lesson after painful lesson of like, oh, this one's going to go smoothly. We had a great conversation. They know exactly what they want and this and that. And it just goes completely off the rails. And I was a proponent for the longest time of like, no, this is what we do. We do bespoke custom websites. That's what separates us. After 6 years of that, I was like, high level templates. I want 3 options, A, B, or C. If you're not cool with any of those, great, but the price is starting at like 20K. And then we can talk about whatever your cousin's sister's nephew thinks is the most amazing thing. We'll sit there all day and listen to you, and we'll go back and forth for as long as you want. But really, they see the templates and they're like, oh, that makes sense. And you're like, cool, end of discussion. It's done. It goes away.
You're right.
So that's what I like, this idea of like, hey, here's some options. So you got some choice. Yeah. But just pick one.
Yeah, you're right. When people do when they get the vision of what you're doing, they get it. Right. And we do make the mistake of thinking, well, my other conversations I've had with this particular niche, they've said things like XYZ. Well, when you go in and you say, hey, this works, we know it generates leads at $23 a lead, these things, and your numbers, they're like, oh, okay. That's all they wanted to know in the first place. Right.
Well, it's pretty nice if you can go into the dashboard that you showed me, take a screenshot. I use JumpShare. It has an awesome little blur tool. I could take a screenshot, blur that one column in 2 seconds and be like, well, here's some other customers that they're running the same campaigns that you can click to turn on. and
Exactly.
there are the results. Does that look good to you?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. You're absolutely right. I mean, you have to be, uh, Gary Bencivenga.
no, but that's a cool last name. I'm
Gary
from Pennsylvania,
Bencivenga.
so.
Yeah, Gary Bencivenga is my favorite copywriter ever. In fact, he has this, and Gary, if you're seeing this, thank you, buddy. But he's an older guy, he's retired, but he's a really smart guy. And he's got this thing on the internet, his 29 bullets. And, he's an old school marketer. And one of the things that he says is within every sale, there's actually 2 sales. Okay. And the mistake that most people try and make is they try and make a really big sale. Okay. So, hey, I want you to buy my high ticket thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you sell them on something small first, okay, and that can be a lot of things. That can be an idea, that can be an actual offer, that can be a case study. If you sell them, that can be you. If you sell them on that thing first, then the second sale is a lot easier. Right. And you're absolutely right. When people actually get the opportunity to buy into small ideas, the big ones are easy, right? But if we try and sell them on a big idea right away, then good luck. That's a lot of effort.
I was just talking with Matt DeSeno about this, and he had a really smart insight, as he usually does, which is, when it comes to software, product market fit is the hardest thing to find. And it's often extremely expensive to prove, right? I have this idea. I think it's going to resonate in this market. I need to put X amount of money into at least getting it to the point where I can go find out if that's true or not. And then how do you get enough people aware of it to figure out if it's true? It costs a lot of money. HighLevel has already done the product market fit, right? We know that the product is amazing, right? You can rest assured of that. And so you can just focus on pieces of it and do like you said, a small dollar amount to prove to them whatever it is you want to prove, that putting a live chat widget on your website, a web chat widget, is going to be a good idea, or that, turning on GMB chat is going to be a good idea, or letting people text message your business is going to be a good idea. Whatever you want to charge, $500, if 30 days, I'll give you the 500 back if you're not happy. But what that first sale, when you said there are 2 sales, the first one in my mind was the sale of trust. Do I trust you? Am I willing to buy in on you? And I feel like that's what I love about this HighLevel world that we've opened up is, hey, trust the tool. It's there. It's solid. It's proven. Go earn the trust with that, and then use that as the foot in the door, the first sale that's going to make the second sale so much easier.
Everybody thinks they need a really slick sales pitch, right? And what they need is an engineered way to cultivate trust. Now, I don't want to say engineered, like, hey, we're just doing it,
a scalable way.
Yes, there's a reason why people use scripts, okay? Because they keep you focused, they keep out all the the distractions. But when you're talking about the first sale, the trust, there's so many things. In fact, there was somebody within the Go HighLevel community that right out of the gate, they were offering lifetime access to small features, and I don't remember who it was, but small features within the Go HighLevel. I can't remember what Pipeline Pro or something. Is that what they were called?
Yeah, pipeline, something
like that. That was a really smart idea, because they're throwing everybody a bone and they're saying, hey, just come try it out. Try this feature. All right. And if you like that, then all the things behind it. Now, the key is to make sure that first thing is something that's going to really make you look good, build some trust. I have a book. I wrote a book. I give people the book for free because one, it's positioning, but two, it's like, hey, there's things in there that actually show you how to convert leads into patients. And I want you to have it. And people appreciate that. Right.
Totally.
And then you could call that a sale, but I'm giving it away. So I'm making no money. I'm losing money technically, but it comes back. you know?
It's a numbers game. Yeah. You're
Mhm.
not, I'm sure you're not losing money in the grand scheme of things, but it's a really important point. I like that concept of the first sale is actually two sales. And yeah, I think the first sale is a sale of trust. And to me, and it sounds like you're on the same page. And I was just on a webinar and Sean was talking about the same thing. It doesn't matter how good your agency is. If the first thing that you're trying to sell is $3,500, there's just going to be a lot of people that just say no. Their brains just are immediately going to click off and
Yeah.
not be responsive to anything else that you have to say.
Yeah.
And so if you can find a scalable way to bring people in at a small dollar amount just to earn the trust, well, then, the latter, you can go crazy with it. But,
Well, yeah. And I mean,
give
in
yourself
in
the
the
at bat.
conversation, yeah, in the conversation that's around client acquisition, the best thing I ever did was find a way to engineer my conversations so they're more like consultations, and not people say, oh, let's have a consultation. I literally pepper them with questions with a goal, right? I say, the reason I'm asking you these questions is because I have two products, both of which have a really good, value proposition, but I don't know which one you're going to be a fit for. So let me learn about your business.
Right.
And now I'm asking them questions. And as I'm asking them questions, I'm pulling out problems and then strengths of their clinic in this case. Like, so you're spread a little thin on your staff. Okay. I understand that. You're new. You don't know whether or not this is going to work. Well, our done for you approach, it might be more expensive, but we outbook by 3-to-1, meaning if you have your staff do it, we're going to outbook on average by 3-to-1. Okay. So how many more people do we have to book to recoup your money? And this is all factual, by the way.
Yeah.
So I can just I can get their problem, and then I can frame it in a way to where I'm like, all of your problems are right here, and this is the solution. It costs this much, but don't worry, you're protected because we fixed all the problems, right? So
Yeah.
it just makes.
And when you walk it through with HighLevel, I love pairing the two. So you can look at your tool and be like, okay, what services do you offer? Okay. Oh, you do spinal decompression. Okay, great. You do knee, whatever. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Let me show you on average what it's going to cost for a lead, right? Using our tool, because here's a bunch of clients that are doing it right now with the same ad that you're going to use. So it's very reasonable. You can make the logical conclusion that you're going to get the same result, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So this much per lead, right? You do the math on that on how much you want to spend. And then our software, HighLevel, is going to automate 50% of these onto your calendar. Okay, great. So do the math. And then, every appointment that shows up, how many of them do you close? Well, that's the piece, right? If you're confident, that at that point, you've taken the math so far, they're like, 1 out of 2 of that, I can work with that.
Yeah.
And so then it becomes a very easy sale in my mind.
Yeah, you're not selling, right?
Right.
The idea of a good sales pitch is to remove the sale.
Right.
To take the sale all out of it. But what you're saying is absolutely right. You give them so much in your script and in your conversation that by the end, it's kind of like, you want to go with the status quo and do nothing? Or do you want to do this solution that we both agree? I mean, at that point, they're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Objectively, this makes sense. We both agree this is good. And the only thing I do after that, just to give a little secret away, people are always sold, but they always need urgency to close. All right. And so I say, hey, so here's what we're going to do. Based on what I'm hearing, I usually find that people are in 1 and 2 camps. Camp number 1, they want to think about it. They're not quite sure. Camp number 2, they like what they're hearing. They want to see if it's going to work for them, and they want to see what the next steps to getting started are. Which are you? And they're like, oh yeah, get me started. I'm like, okay, I have a thinking tax, and this is very straightforward. When we have a client come on and they're excited about it, we want to make sure that excitement doesn't go to waste. And so the thinking tax is this: it's 24 hours, and I either charge or I waive my onboarding fee, which is $1,000. So does that make sense to you? Oh yeah, that makes sense. I have some people go, oh, that's a really good idea. I had a guy this week, he goes, oh, I should do that. I'm like, yeah, you should. And he signed up, So you gotta if you take them through that logical conversation and you get them bought into visualizing how this thing's going to work for them, at the end, you do need some communication tactics to get them to take action, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so however you engineer that in your script or what you're doing to close clients, I hate that word, by the way, but to get, to get them to take action, do it. And urgency and scarcity are the tools you need to use.
That's really cool. I like that. So basically you're saying, hey, glad you're excited. We're ready to go. We have a 24-hour essentially offer where if you sign up in 24 hours, we waive the onboarding fee. And if it's after 24 hours, it's $1,000.
That's right.
That's really interesting. I have a visitor. You going outside?
Yeah.
All right. Have fun, man. All right. I guess that's a sign that we should wrap it up, Sam, but thank you so much for coming on. UpHex.com. And as we talked about, it is in beta. So you'll see there's actually on the page, when you go to the pricing page, it shows you, all the unlimited stuff in beta and then what it's going to look like when they come out of beta. Do you have a time frame on when you think you'll be out of beta?
The way the platform works right now. Yeah. Well, the way the platform works right now, it works really well, but there's limited users right now. And so we want to put, 100 or 200 users in there, and we know what 100 or 200 users looks like with direct, like the people who are actually using it, but we want to put 100 to 200 agencies in there just to make sure that everything is functional, easy to use. And then at that point, hopefully scale to the moon. We'll see what happens, but we've got ambition and a lot of, we think it's going to be a game changer for agencies. And I gotta say, HighLevel has been awesome. I remember when we first, not to go off on a tangent, but I remember the first time we saw HighLevel, was like 2 years ago. And my partner Jacob is the one who found it, and he goes, dude, this thing does blah 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 blah, all these things. And I'm like, are you for real right now? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, well, get it. What are you waiting for? And so we got it and we plugged into it. And it was really crazy because ever since then, we've been building one thing after another: support staff, software, and my agency runs itself for the most part. And
Awesome.
UpHex is today based on a lot of what we saw happening in Go HighLevel. We're like, hey, this is the future. This is what's happening. This is where we fit. And so people who use HighLevel, if you love HighLevel, I feel like you're going to love UpHex. If you don't, then you're dead to me, I guess.
I love it. Cool. Well, Sam, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Chase. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in the next one.